As always, today, guys, we will be doing the Balance Council tier list. The tiers quickly are going to be top tier, changes I really like, hopefully makes new decks, makes decks competitive, or makes decks that were overly competitive a little bit worse so other things can compete. Good tiers are generally good changes for the game, cards I like to see change, things that might get play, maybe not be too incredible, but we'll see play hopefully. Neutral changes I don't think really make a difference, or that won't make it into any deck, something like that, or I just don't have an opinion on because I'm undecided. Questionable changes I'm not too sure about, but I don't think are going to be good. Bad changes are changes I just think are really bad and should not happen. And the constant not discussing it more down here, it's just things have been changed like 4 more times that I've had to keep mentioning, so I'm going to try and keep those discussions to a minimum. For this balance council, beginning with the provision increases, and I say that instead of provision nerfs because we have 2 buffs here, 2 jackpot and 2 off the books. I don't know why we're buffing jackpot. Jackpot is one of the least interesting leaders for Syndicate. Um, it's really good in just mid-range decks where you kind of ignore the whole coin mechanic. So I don't know about that one. Off the books is a little more questionable than bad to me, but I just don't like the change to Jackpot. I think it's the least interesting Syndicate leader, the one that has the least potential for variety of deck building, and just it always like kind of just does the same thing. So it's either like going to be Salamander deck or it's just being a mid-range deck with Yago. And both of those decks are things I saw. So not the biggest fan of that. Next up here we have V. V being one of the most popular and strongest monster decks the last couple seasons. Deserved nerf there. Very strong deck. People keep saying this deck's meme. It's not meme. It's like a top tier monsters deck, which is not how I think it should be. So good to see that getting a nerf. We have Amphibious Assault here. Amphibious Assault, I have no idea why this went down to 12 provisions. I think I said that when that happened. It didn't make sense to me, but 13 better. Besides Temple, Demben's still incredibly good deck. Then we have, well, was an incredibly good deck, probably still is, because we'll see here in a minute. Then we have Ardfian. Status Aristocrats was one of the most popular Nilfgaard decks I saw. Still seems good. Ardfian, I don't care too much about this one. I have a strong opinion. I think cards like Philippe necessarily are more dangerous than this, but this is an incredible consistency tool. And this is a card, people always tell me this card is bad. Guys, this card is not bad. I don't know why people always comment this card's bad and you shouldn't run it. It's not bad, it's really good. That doesn't make sense to me. Then we have Sigvald going to 11. Can no longer Fukusha this guy back, but people are using right anyway, people including me. Sigvald is one of those cards where if you don't have an answer, you lose. So I guess we can put that in good potentially. Self Wound's still very strong deck. We played a bit of that last season. I guess we'll put this in good. Kind of neutral about it though, but that might just be my Self Wound bias because I really think Self Wound's like the most fun Skellige deck. So we'll put it in good, but I might be biased. I think it's neutral, but I think I'm biased. We'll put it in good. The deck's still very, very good. And this might be a card getting out of Fukusha range is good. I'm not too sure. Yeah. It's my tier list. We're putting it in neutral. I might be biased about this one. I just don't have a strong feeling about it. That's because I mainly play the Self Wound instead of going against it. Next up, we have Ku. This card's been changed a whole bunch of times. Actually, you know what? So is this. Ku's been changed a bunch. It goes back to 10. Whatever. Verdun Roche goes to 10. He's now down here in this list as well, but this means you can't Blue Dream him anymore, which was quite obnoxious. Then we have the Ivo. This one's probably good. Ivo I saw a lot in Nilfgaard in general, just because they play so many things with Nausicaa Sergeants and battle stations, they recycle the battle stations. This was a very common card, and it has a really big ceiling payoff. It's usually like 20, 25 points, and they pay it off in round 3. It can get higher than that, but you can also do like a bunch of fun stuff, which is unfortunately saying nerf for that, like the infinite recruits, things like that are pretty fun. Well, not infinite recruits, but a whole bunch of recruits. Really like recruits last season. But yeah, this makes sense to me. This card has a really big ceiling, and it's usually a minimum of like 12 or so. So pretty good finisher. Can't be in Golden Necker anymore, but I mostly saw it in just plain Enslave Assimilate. Next up, we're going to have the Highland Warlord going to 6. I've said my piece on Highland Warlord. It's a 6 version card. Balance the rest of the deck around that. I don't know why. Every time this gets changed, something happens. Onto the provision decreases. This is absolute insanity to me. Why is Temple going to 15? Why are we buffing Temple? Temple Demoven was insane deck anyway. But it has been changed a whole bunch of times. I'm just going to put it down here. And the thing I want to say is I think Temple is the single card with like the highest value in it in the entire game. Or putting it back to 15. That's wild. Whatever. There's so much potential. Uninteractable carryover. It has provision additions to your deck. Makes Unsafe insane. So much combo potential. Really weird to me. Next up, we have the Synthesis Blaze. Oh, this is good. Blaze is one of those dragons that's just not as good as the other dragons. Like, you don't really play Blaze unless you're playing like bombs or something with an incredible amount of control. It just doesn't have enough payoff. It's too expensive. Compared to Ivo, I've never seen a Blaze, I think, get more than like 17 points. And that's like with starting at lineage 6 or something. So, yeah, I think this doesn't make much sense to be more expensive than this, just as an example. So I like this buff. Tin Boy, I love this one. Let's put Tin Boy in top tier. I've been saying Tin Boy should be buffed for a long time, as in back when I actually made Balance Council suggestions. Next up, we have Arnagod going to 9. Now, this is very interesting. Let's put this up in top tier. You can Golden Necker Arnagod now, which is very interesting. It's interesting. Maybe you could do something with an artifact like Armory, and then you can play Golden Necker into Arnagod boosted with Armory. Armory can re-armor it. A lot of options here. I think this could be fun, and if you're not playing it, now it's much more enticing at 9 than 10. Obviously, it's cheaper, but 9's a lot more stomachable than 10. Just because I think it's more interesting as well. You could slot this into things, but if it just clashes one guy, let's think about it in like Skellige Witchers, for example. Say you play like armor ups and stuff that gets like 4 or 5 armor, and then it clashes something with 7, that's 14 value for 9. I like this. Maybe we'll make a Golden Necker Arnagod deck. It sounds fun. Bank going back to 9. This thing's been changed a whole bunch. This being at 10 completely destroyed all the Golden Necker Syndicate decks. Not that we saw much Syndicate at all. Riptide going back to 9. Not having this at 9 provisions really hurt all their Golden Necker decks too, which is... they were fine though. They still seem pretty good. Hewland going to 9 provisions. I really like this. Yeah, I just really like this. This is a change I've set up for a long time ago, actually. I'm not sure why this took so long, but Hewland's an interesting card, but the only time you ever see it is never. That's kind of the answer there. It was just too expensive. It does set up things like Otkel with blessings, but you do have to pay the provisions to set that up. I just think it's a really neat card. Wish it could see more play, and hopefully it does now. Next we have Knighthood. I love Knighthood. Knighthood's such a cool card. Knighthood's one of those cards I've always advocated for going to 9, and it finally is now, so I'm very glad about this. Hopefully we see some diversity in Northern Realms Knight deck building now, because it's always just like Phoebus Assault, Oneiromancy, Lady of the Lake. You play your control with Heatwave, you play the Scenario, you play Maiden, you get the idea. It's always the same, but hopefully this gives us a little bit more variety. Now it's cheaper than Decree. Potentially we can do something where you play like a couple nights and play this out into like an on-safe with a leader charge or something. Be interesting. Proto Flutter going to 7. I like this. Proto Flutter went to 8. It still didn't see really much play. At 8, it was still not just an okay enough card on its own because you're playing it at 8 provisions, getting 10 points with 3 bleeding. If you're stacking more bleeding than that on something, you're kind of playing into this a lot, trying to make it a big payoff. And it's not ideal as a payoff card, I think. It wasn't costed properly for that. Now it's a 10 for 7 once the 3 bleeding goes off. Much better stat line with an upside if you can pay off more bleeding. So quite like this. Ranger going to 4 provisions. Let's put that in good as well. I like this card. This card's really fun. Just the problem with it is you never want to play it in your deck because you're paying 5 provisions for this effect. The only time you ever see this is some people trying to do something pretty meme-ish, or if you just pick it off of the location, because sometimes it's a decent pick off the location. I saw a couple people playing this, but I think at 4 it makes it much more interesting because moving around its boost is a lot of fun potentially. You could do some combos with it. I think that could be quite interesting. Laura to 5, top tier change, no more 3. Laura going to 4 is a 3 Persian buff to Tatterwing, made it the probably best monsters deck. That's insane. I hate that deck. It's not fun. Yeah, it's not one of those decks you want to see being the best deck because it's not very interactable, so there's not much you can do about it other than deck build and plan to play against it. So this is good. Professor. Now, Professor is a mid-range card that didn't see enough play because its mid-range value just fell off. I think buffing Professor's power is good. I like this one. I kind of want to put this in top tier just because Professor hasn't seen play in such a long time. But the thing with Professor is that it used to be that his 4 damage with Bounty would just like kill something. Like his 4 damage just kill something. A lot of cards have been buffed in power past the 4 provision threshold throughout the Balance Council. So it's a lot less scary that he has that 4 provision, the 4 damage now. It doesn't kill as much stuff, not nearly as much stuff. And I think that just means the power buff to him makes sense because you can't change the amount of damage he does. And I think this makes a lot of sense. Next up, we have Yiggorin. I'll put this up here too. I have seen exactly one Yiggorin in the past like 2 months. So yeah, I love seeing this buff. It's such an interesting card too. As far as really tall big guys go in monsters, this is one that's actually kind of interesting because you can play it early, and then it has armor, but you play into like poisons more. People could put damage into it to potentially destroy it. You can wait till later and hope they don't have like a ping damage to kill it. It goes with the Ozrael. I really like this card. MK will put in top tier as well. Just because, actually put her in, let's put her in good. Put her in good instead of top tier. MK is another alternative coin generation in Syndicate. At 5 power, she just died to everything. You had to shield her at 5 power, because 5 power specials would just remove her. And then you're paying 9 provisions for 2 coins that dies to a 5 provision removal spell. At 6, at least you have to use gold removal or combo removal on her. Much better. You probably still want to use the shield quite a bit, but she's not immediately dying every single time now to every bronze removal in the game. So I really like this change. I really like to advocate for alternative coin generations in Syndicate. Maybe we'll play her in something like a Forgotten Treasures deck. Maybe we'll try her out there, playing Golden Neck or Townsfolk, something like that. Now you've Bank back. That might be playable-ish. I like this. Same thing with Horse tier. I'm not putting this guy in top tier because I don't think he'll quite make it into decks without his other brother getting buffed. But I really want these cards to be viable. They're kind of iconic for Syndicate. They're so good when the faction first came out, and since then they've been like changed, reworked, not as good. But I really want to see them make it back into Syndicate, so I think it's good they're getting changed. We have Morelga. I'm neutral on Morelga. This isn't because I think it's a bad change. I think Morelga Etriel actually pretty good in Golden Necker Harmony, which will be the first deck we play this season, I'm pretty sure. We have to test out the buff to Chameleon, which we'll get to in a minute, and test this one out. And yeah, these are going to be the power buffs, by the way. I don't think we said that. I always forgot to say that. But yeah, this is just... I think this is fine. I kind of thought the cards were okay how they were, so we'll leave it in neutral. Not because I don't like these cards. I'm a little biased towards them. I think they're already pretty good, but we'll leave it here. Joanna. We'll put this up here. I do like it, but I might be biased towards the card. This might make it a little too good. It's 9 for 6 unconditional with a payoff. I guess that's fine. It's gold after all. It's conditional payoff. It's answerable. This does mean it's really hard to answer the conditional payoff because getting rid of a 6 instead of a 5. Now, I like this in neutral. I'm a little questionable about this one. I think this might make the pair too good. We'll see. They are like one of golds. I'm a little uncertain. I like the charges with healing. There's not too much healing synergy. If you want to do a healing synergy type deck, it's fair that your healing core card building up charges doesn't die to 5 provision removal. And healing's not as good as boosting, not even close. So I do like this. Vendor's been changed a billion times. Put him down there. But we didn't see hardly anyone playing him. 6 provisions, 4 power. I mean, I don't think I've seen a Vendor. I haven't seen a Vendor played last season at all. Forest Whisper is a good change. This is helpful specifically to Harmony because you pull this out off of Saskia because you're playing poisons with Ranger and Weeping Willow. And then you're playing, you have this for your other poisons. If you pull this off of Saskia, you're really sad because you have to use the ranged order for the 3 vitalities. It was at 3 power, that just felt really bad. At 4, okay, it's 7 for 4 after 3 turns. It's more stomachable if you miss the poison on it. I don't know about this Chameleon buff, though. Chameleon is quite a strong engine. Quite strong. So I'm not sure giving it this extra power is really warranted. It doesn't really get out of 5 removal range. It just lets you do it one more time, and it's harder to answer with onboard setup pings and orders. So I don't know about this one. I guess you can't turn in Joust at the 4 damage specials anymore, but I thought Chameleon was fine already, so this is kind of weird to me. That being said, I am a big Harmony player, and I mainly played Golden Echo Harmony for Squirtle last season, so I might be biased, but I already thought this card was good, so I'm not sure what's up with this. Demon Warship, getting to provision decreases now. This is good, I think. I'm not sure how much this will make difference, but you can just play Naval Supremacy now, and this will die to that. You can use 1 damage pings on it instead of 2, put next to like a Melusine, stuff like that, next to a Priest, they'll die faster. I've tried quite a bit, never found a good deck, I think, using the self-damage and Pirates together. I'm not sure we still will, but this is interesting at least. Maybe we can make something work. Okay, where's Vendel Elite? Okay, Safecracker, Vendel Elite. I believe these are 2-step processes. They went from 5 to 4, and then the provisions will go from 5 to 4 next patch, I believe. I'm not commenting on that till it happens, because obviously no one's going to play them this season. John Natalius, probably good that this guy went to 1. In line with the other tutors like him, sure. Kraken going back to 3, though, I just think this is bad. Actually, Kraken falls into this, doesn't it? Because it was like 5, 6 originally. It went down, 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 back up. Yeah, this goes down in here. I do think this is bad, though. Kraken's just like a big mid-range card. I like they have to put a little bit extra effort into it and kill this. And now that it kills itself again, we can't combo it with Rages like we did in our last video. So that feels bad. Nerfing Allgod, probably good. Allgod has a lot of carryover. Make it 1 less tempo is fine. It does have a lot of carryover. And it makes it a little bit easier to force a carryover out early, because if you can't do that, it just feels really obnoxious when they play this and you have no way to interact with it, the points that is, until they do it. Maxi going to 6 again, I just don't like this. I liked Maxi at 7, but perhaps she was a bit too good? I don't know, I don't see it. I might just be biased towards Maxi, because I think she's an interesting way to add consistency to decks. That's pretty unique, but maybe she was too good at 7 for 5, even though I didn't see anyone playing her. So I might just missed out on the Maxi popularity, because we didn't play all that much last season compared to normal. So yeah, I just don't like this. I'll put it in here because, no, this is it. I couldn't be wrong about this, but I don't like this. Oscar Sergeant, everyone knows where this goes. Right there. Perfect. Rafard's Vengeance. Probably good. Realistically, I think the problem here is Inspired Zeal being so good at his provisions. But you can't nerf Inspired Zeal because it always gets put back immediately. So I guess we have to nerf the cards. I'd rather nerf Inspired Zeal, but obviously that just gets reverted because people can't handle it. So put this here. The good thing about this one in particular for Rafard's Vengeance going from 5 to 4 means that after you Inspired Zeal it, you Inspired Zeal Rafard's Vengeance, it goes to previously get to 7 power. You can't really remove that without like a dedicated punish like a Heat Wave or something. Now it goes to 6. You can hit it with the gold removal for 6 provisions. Those things can now answer it. That's much better because if you don't answer it, it kind of just wins the round on its own because it keeps throwing out more bronzes. They winch it and it goes off again. So you kind of only do usually have like 1 turn to answer it. Like winch it and then they Siege Master it. Boom, it's reset. So I think this being at 6 after it uses its order, kind of like Demavend previously, makes it more answerable. Same argument there. I like this. Rot Tosser. Okay. All right. Which Balance Council person lost once to Rot Tosser and decided to nerf it? Because this makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense. I don't get it. Rot Tosser, like a year ago, this was a meta deck, I think. But it's been nerfed very heavily. I don't get it. Someone explain this to me. But yeah, that is the Balance Council tier list overall. Pretty interesting. There's a lot of cool changes and a lot of just things I don't like, but a lot of those are reverts. But yeah, a lot of really interesting changes, some really fun decks. Syndicate getting some love here. Really good to see that. We played like 5 Syndicate games total last season against people that were playing Syndicate. I mean, it was just so unpopular. As far as the rest, though, a lot of interesting stuff here, getting some buffs, some probably good nerfs. Overall, pretty happy with this list, I think. This is probably overall a good change, but I don't know too much. And then, yeah, only one I'm unsure about Maxi. I might just be wrong about Maxi and Chameleon. Hopefully this was interesting, but I guess we'll get into part 2 here. Let's go get into our April season summary. Beginning here, as always, with the faction distribution. Bit of a surprise, this one. So this season, our most played faction, this is what we played against. And as always, I'll try and make this disclaimer. I always try and make this. These are just the games I played on the ladder. It doesn't necessarily represent the ladder. And this season, we played less games than usual, like 150 or so. So we didn't, maybe it was more like 125, something like that. We didn't play nearly as many games as usual. So this, much as I say it's just a smaller sample size, doesn't represent the ladder. It's even more true this season. We didn't really try and push for any MMR. We just played a bunch of fun stuff with like Regis and Dragon's Dream, things like that. So that's what we did last season. That being said, our most common opponent was Northern Realms this season. This has never happened before, I don't think. So just a lot of Northern Realms, followed by Nilfgaard. Yeah, Monsters, Skellige, Scoia'tael, and Syndicate down here. I think it was like 5 or 6 Syndicate players. Yeah, so this, it felt like there's a lot of Northern Realms this season. So this was a little interesting to me. As far as the decks people were playing, as always here we have the number of times we played against them. If we played it, I think 2 or more times, I put them on this chart. A lot less one-ups here, probably because we didn't end up playing as many games. As far as monsters, the most popular deck here, and well, by the way, the number up here is the MMR above the MMR of our average game we encounter the deck at. So say, for example, our average MMR is 2450, then this would mean we encountered this deck on average at 2464, whereas this deck we'd encounter at 2436. So again, the sample size of the season is not enough to really mean anything here, but I just put it on anyway, so why not? So, most common monsters that we fought against, Tatterwing. Who's surprised? Nobody. This deck's terrible to play against. It got 3 provision buff last season. I guess -1 from the Tatterwing itself, so got, or Hive Mind I think it was. Got 2 provision buff last season. Makes absolute sense. This deck was the most common thing. Then we have Ogroids. Just plain Ogroids actually, no Renfrees. And then V. Again, been a really good monsters deck for a couple seasons now. See why that got nerfed and that got reverted. For Nilfgaard, the most common deck we had was Enslave Assimilate. These were all playing Ivo, so I didn't even bother separating them by Ivo this time because Ivo was the way. About an average here, pretty typical for opponent for us. And statuses, Clog and Renfree Hyperthed with Rience. So not too surprising here either. I remember a lot of Enslave Assimilate, there's always a lot of those. And statuses were quite annoying this season. We kept running into them. Couple Clogs, bunch of Clogs actually, and then some Hyperthens. Northern Realms, we have Temple Demavend being the most common and highest performing in my experience. Not surprised there. It's super strong deck. You can do a lot of stuff with it, and it's just incredibly good. Then we have a bunch of Reaver players. You guys are starting to see why I didn't play as much this season, potentially. Was playing some Monster Hunter World and other stuff. But yeah, not World, Wilds. Yeah, Temple Demavend, then Reavers, Golden Necker Witchers, some Blue Stripes, which was surprising to me, some Alumni's, some Traveling Priestess Military, few knights, couple knights, so hopefully we get some changes to them. For Skellige, most common deck we played was Raid Warriors. Yay, another deck we love playing against. Then Golden Necker Warriors, and then some Saris Lippy and some Pirates. Pirates, again, not enough games here to really tell anything about the MMR ratings here. I just left them on, because why not? But yeah, a lot of Raid Warriors. For Scoia'tael, most common thing we played against was Renfree Hand Buff, which was very surprising to me. I think this is all at the beginning of the season, though. I don't think we played them near the end of the season. So more of like right in the beginning. There was some Symbiosis, some Dwarves, and some Dragon Precision Strike Control. Oh yes, here is the Syndicate chart. We didn't play any Syndicate deck more than once. And we played a total of like 5. So overall, most popular decks we faced this season are Enslave Assimilate, Temple Demavend, Raid Warriors, Tatterwing, Statuses, Reavers, Clog, Renfree Hand Buff, and Golden Necker Warriors. Yeah, I wasn't having too much fun this season, to be honest. A lot of these decks are really annoying to play against. But yeah, those are the most common ones we saw this season. As far as popular leaders, let's begin with monsters here. It was Overwhelming Hunger. You'll see that here. Oh, you'll notice that there was more Tatterwing than just the Arrakis Swarm, by the way. We saw some bombs and Tatterwing, stuff like that. Different. I think we saw a Tatterwing Frost too. Just trying to play Laura with White Frost. But yeah, there's several Tatterwing decks. So most common one is Overwhelming Hunger, then Arrakis Swarm Carapace, then Fruits, Blood Scent, 1 Force Nature, 1 Frost, which I think was a Tatterwing deck. But yeah, so that would be monsters. For Northern Realms here, yeah, look at that, Inspired Zeal once again. Then we got some Shield Wall Mobilization, our lovely Reaver players here. Pincer Maneuver, Uprising, Royal Inspiration, some Cohen Priestess combos, and then we've got no stockpiles. Stockpile Siege really fallen off. It's now Demven Siege mainly. For Scoia'tael, we've mostly got Precision Strike, Invigorate, mostly to the Renfrey hand buffs we encountered. Guerrilla Tactics is really variable. Deadeye Ambush, Forge, and Nature's Gift. No Call of Harmonies. We tried to make up for that by just playing Call of Harmony Golden Necker, but didn't really work out. Didn't see any opponents doing it, I don't think. For Skellige, we've got the Patricidal Fury for Raid Warriors, Reckless Flurry for Golden Necker and Witchers, some Onslaughts for Pirates, a couple Battle Trances, a couple Ursine Rituals for various things, and then we've got Rage of the Sea once for Renfrey. No Blaze of Glory, which is weird to me. Usually you see a couple of these. I might have forgotten to write down one of the Blaze of Glories, to be honest. And I try to write down all the games, guys, but it's if you see a game that I played that's not in here, usually I write down the results after each game, but when I'm recording, I just have to record all the games at once, and then sometimes I forget to go back and include one of them. As far as Nilfgaard leaders, it's Enslave, then Imposter, and then we've just got a bunch of random stuff down here. But mostly Enslave and Imposter. Just assimilate and statuses. For Syndicate, we encountered 2 Blood Monies, 1 Congregation, 1 off the books, 1 line pockets, and 1 hidden cache. So we played 6 Syndicate players total this season. They get hurt really hard last patch, though. And overall, most popular leaders are Inspired Zeal, Enslave, Patricidal Fury, Imposter, Overwhelming Hunger, Reckless Flurry, Carapace, Wreckage Swarm, Shield Wall, Mobilization, Precision Strike, and Invigorate. Not surprised here. This is basically what we felt on the ladder. And least popular, we've got none of these here, and one of these here. I don't like to bring off the names for some reason right now, but yeah, none of these. So yeah, this one did get buffed. Jackpot did get buffed, but again, not too interested in that one. Not a biggest fan of it, despite its lack of popularity. Because we didn't have the biggest sample size here this season. Then on to neutral packages. We'll skip the deck type this time. I don't think I filled out a couple new ones there. For neutral packages, we've got the most common one being Golden Necker at only 6% of our opponents. Interesting. Renfrey down at 4. Like 1% Dragon, Bombs, Construct, Shoops. About what I expected. Renfrey was much higher at the beginning of the season, where we started encountering like the hand buff players, the hyper thin players. There was a lot more of this at the beginning of the season. And we got Golden Necker just S12 provisions. People aren't playing it as much, although we do quite a bit. For Devotion, we've got now 78% non-devotion and 22% devotion. Devotion just seems to keep falling off in our games, just less and less of it. Devotion payoff cards, I guess, aren't quite enough. The only thing that's really devotion at this point that we play is like Raid Warriors and Temple Dem Event. And everyone's favorite part here, the disconnectors and emote spammers, which for some reason always just seem to be people playing the annoying decks. But our disconnectors, we have a Deathwish player, Nilfgaard Bombs, and Slave 8 Colgrim, Renfrey Hand Buff, and Renfrey Precision Strike Bombs. Huh. Weird. Really weird. And we didn't have any emote spammers this season. But yeah, again, the annoying deck people just leave when their game stops working. I say game stops working as it disconnects, but more like their game playing gets shut down. So anyway, guys, that is the season summary for this season. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll get back with a deck video pretty soon, and we will see you then.